Hi, welcome to the Tech for Good Southwest podcast, brought to you by Annie, Arielle, and me, Alicia. Here at Tech for Good Southwest, we're on a mission to build momentum for the Tech for Good movement here in Bristol, Bath, Exeter, and across the Southwest. We are going to be joined by charities, investors, startups, and initiatives to share their stories, challenges, and successes. For the first three episodes, we're really excited because we're interviewing each other as the founders of Tech for Good Southwest. And today I'm speaking to Arielle. Hi, Arielle, how are you?
Hi, Alicia. I'm great. Thank you.
Awesome, cool, and happy Friday. We are recording this on Friday, ready for the weekend. Um, Arielle, you've got an awesome background, and yeah, I'm really excited to share that with the people listening today. So, could you tell us just a little bit about you and what you do day to day?
Yes, certainly. My name's Arielle Tye, and I work for an organisation in Wales called Promo Cymru. We're a social enterprise and a charity, and we're really diverse as an organisation. So I'm going to mainly tell you about the part of the organisation that I work in. So this is really around supporting the third sector and the public sector as well with designing and delivering digital services. And one of our big specialist areas is around how you design and deliver youth services. So, how do you best engage people online? How do you use the right channels and in the right way to reach the audiences that you're looking for? And how do you design and deliver services that actually work for people? So, we deliver lots of training. We bring people together through Tech for Good style events. We produce lots of resources, and we do a lot of consultancy work, which involves giving organizations skills, tools, and confidence too to work digitally. This can be from looking at their internal processes to how they communicate and actually deliver their services today. We do lots of other things, but that's really the main area of work that I work in a nutshell. And personally, I'm very passionate about the Tech for Good movement. So I was part of setting up the Tech for Good Organisers Network, which is a network of network organisers. So this is different people who are running Tech for Good type initiatives throughout the UK and Ireland, actually. And we all get together to share knowledge and expertise on how things are going on our communities, how we're running our events, etc. And I actually live in Bristol, so hence being part of this podcast and getting involved with Tech for Good Southwest.
Awesome. Probably next question, and just throwing it out, but you mentioned Tech for Good quite a lot there, which is obviously incredible and why we're here today. But what does Tech for Good actually mean to you?
So that's a really good question because when I first started getting involved with this type of work, I didn't really even know about the Tech for Good movement. I didn't know it was called that. So in Wales, really our Tech for Good work came out of understanding a need to support charities and also the third sector with digital. And we started running, we've always done lots of training and different things in this space, but we set up a network called Creating Conversations, where we would hold events and we would have speakers and we'd bring people together to really just share their challenges from different perspectives. So we had people there from health, people from housing associations, people from youth services. And we would sort of have a speaker style event where we'd bring people together, people could network and share expertise, really. And the whole idea was to support each other, to learn and to inspire each other as well. So I think what Tech for Good means for me and the way I understand it, I see it as bringing people together with different levels of expertise and experiences to support each other. And let's face it, work on wouldn't it be great if we could work on some of these problems and issues that are facing society? And I think what's really interesting about that is that that's what charities are doing. We meet a need. So a charity is set up to meet a need within a community. And then you have tech companies, and many of them now are actually setting up, loads of Tech for Good startups we're seeing setting up, but they have a whole range of different expertise. And if they can actually work together with third sector organisations and the public sector as well, then hopefully something cool is going to come out of that.
What would you say like is most important to you within that realm in terms of if you could change one thing, what would it be?
So I feel like in the work that I do, one of the biggest barriers is mindset. And a lot of organizations, and this can be public sector staff, charity staff, third sector staff, etc. So many people feel very unconfident with technology and they'll say, I'm not very techie, this isn't really for me. You get other people that are completely embracing it. So you definitely see the both sides. But I feel like there needs to be this mindset shift. So tech and digital does not sit with IT people and it doesn't sit with digital teams. It's now a fundamental and crucial part of how we deliver our services and should be thought about from the start and should be integrated into what we do. So one of the key messages and areas of work that we work in is around how digital can enhance your service delivery. So it's just about making it better for people who are trying to access support. So helping people really to get the right support at the right time in a way that works for them. And I really love working with organizations when they say initially, I'm not that technical, and they've got this slight apprehension. And then you work with them and they say, wow, like I thought it was going to be really technical. There was hardly anything technical spoken about. And it's totally true, because actually so much of it is actually about journeys. It's about pathways through services. It's about understanding need, really like digging deep into the problem before you come up with loads of digital solutions. So much of the work is massively accessible, I think, if we can speak to organizations and support them in the right way.
I think what you said about, and I really like that, and probably something I haven't thought too much about, is that digital confidence. And I think, like you said, if you're not, and I've been in technology for 10 years, things overwhelm me every single day, let alone a charity where they don't, if you take a charity, let's say that they're Jessie May, who are working with end of life for children, obviously it's such a powerful charity, unbelievable people, and so much time and respect to them. Where does technology come into that? They probably haven't even thought about it because that's not the end goal of them as a charity. But equally, we all know that technology can support and advance not only companies, individuals, but charities massively. So I think that digital confidence piece that you spoke about and mentioned, just something that I haven't thought about before, and what digital confidence is. Yeah, I just really liked it. Just like that bit.
Yeah, I think confidence is huge, and simplifying things and just speaking in a language where people can understand it, and speaking about experiences that we all are familiar with in our everyday lives, how we access things these days. We're all pretty familiar with going online to access information and support, and it's just about how do we actually, use this technology and this new way of doing things and bring this into our services so that it enhances them and actually makes them better for people. And there are some really small, fairly simple things that can make such a big difference.
What in like you can feel your passion for it, and I love that. But what really inspired you to get into this space?
So I didn't purposefully get into this space. I did my degree in radio and started working as a freelance broadcast journalist. And also at the same time, I was doing quite a lot of youth work. So I was teaching young people singing and DJing. And then a job came up at Promo Cymru, which was looking for someone to be the editor of an online magazine that they were running. And so I got the job. And interestingly, this online magazine, it's called The Sprout, and it's based in Cardiff. And it was all about getting young people information and advice, but in a I suppose engaging way. So instead of saying that it's an information service, it was an online magazine for young people where they can actually contribute content. So they wrote the stories, there was a youth editorial team, and they would share all sorts of amazing stories about issues and things that were going on for them. And then through those stories, we were able to link other young people to support if they were experiencing the same thing. So that's the way it worked. And I've been at Promo Cymru now 13 years, so my job's really evolved, and the organisation has evolved too, because I suppose digital is moving so fast, and we were doing it really early on. When I first started my job, most youth services, most public services, in fact, most charities and third sector as well, weren't really embracing social media, for example. They were quite scared of it. They were just looking at the risks. They were quite risk averse to it. And we were some of the first people really out there doing it. So then we started to get a lot of work in helping organizations to get online. So how do you actually start engaging young people over social media? I did a big project with Cardiff Council when, quite early in my career around actually getting the whole of the youth service to be able to use social media as a youth service. And this was trying to think about how they set up safeguarding in an online space and how they train their staff and how they monitor things. And so things really, developed from there. And now we really deliver a whole range of different services. And a real area of expertise that we work in is around getting people the right information and the right advice as quickly as possible. My career is just developed this way, really.
Wow, awesome. Do you do, because obviously the business is Welsh, do you do as a business, I know, ruining it a little bit and probably my answer, I know that you live in the southwest but work in Wales. Do you do any work sort of specifically in the southwest?
So we work all over. I mean, Wales is the place where the majority of our work happens. And our name's Promo Cymru, and Cymru means Wales in Welsh. So we do a lot of social impact work in Wales. We have a community centre in Ebervale called EVI, and there we have a community cafe. We've just set up a community pantry there and a repair cafe, and they do all sorts of things there like yoga, and there's a music studio, and we have third sector organisations that are based there and the youth service that is based there. So I work in the part of the organisation which is all about sort of building digital capacity, skills, all of these things that I've been talking about. But there's all sorts of other areas of our work. And these projects are really, a Welsh base. So any surpluses that we're making, we are also ploughing back into our organisation and also our community projects. But in answer to your question, we do work more widely, particularly when it comes to designing, I suppose, in the area of digital youth work, because we're recognised for our expertise in that area. So we've done a fair bit of work with organisations throughout the whole of the UK, and I'm really lucky because I'm working on a couple of projects now at European level. So next month I'm going to be in Madrid, and I'm also going to be in Brussels. So it's quite exciting, I think, because we do a broad range of work, and particularly when we're working in Wales, but then we have this niche, I think, in terms of the digital youth work, which is lots of people are asking for our support and our expertise in that area.
Jet setter, love that. What's one thing that you'd like to change? I know you spoke quite a lot about sort of kids, the next generation, and I think that world, and especially charities, it's overwhelming, it's never ending, evolving, need to keep ahead of the game and understand that's probably a challenge for charities. But what's the thing that you'd like most to see, and what do we need to do to get there?
So I think connecting services is something really important that we need to address together, and we need to address at national levels. So we're seeing something quite interesting happening where more and more services are going online, and more services are becoming accessible in a digital space. And there's all sorts of amazing support out there. So if you're struggling with your mental health or so many other things, there are these wonderful charities and organisations who are specialists, and they're working in these spaces, and you can now get a lot of that support digitally online. But what's really interesting, just because an organisation's online, it doesn't mean it's easier to find or easier to know that support even exists. So a lot of the work that we're doing in Wales at the moment is around trying to think on a national level around how actually you navigate all of this support, because it can still be very, very hard that when you have an issue, where do you actually go for help? So it might be great that there's all these services that you can access, but how do you even know that they exist? And there's a massive gap there, and it's very hard. It's very hard to signpost people to the right support and make sure they get the support at the point that they need it. And this is something we're really interested in at Promo Cymru. So we do a lot of work around information advice, and there's lots of changes happening in Wales at the moment, and it looks like there's going to be a National Youth Information Services being developed that we've been advocating for and in support of for a long time. And, this is a big challenge, isn't it? So yeah, looking at, I suppose, on a more national level, how we connect all of the different support available. So again, it makes it really easy from that point of access for someone. So I think that's a change that we really need to see happen. And I think it's only going to be through collaboration that actually we can start making things easier for the people that use our services to navigate their way through all of this.
Do you think, obviously the world's in a bit of we've been in a very turbulent few years, haven't we, with COVID and the rising cost of living, etc. Do you think that we're going to see even more struggles in the space because of the world that we're in at the moment?
Yes, definitely. I mean, there's more strain on third sector organisations, on charities at the moment. People are have been struggling more with their health, with their physical health, with their mental health through COVID. The cost of living crisis has a massive impact again on your mental health, and all sorts of other things. Being able to not, put the heating on, afford food. It's a real struggle. So yeah, there's going to be there's more need, and there's less resource, and really that's the perfect storm. But this is where, trying to end on a positive, that hopefully technology can help with this. Technology really can make services much more lean. There's always going to be an investment. There's usually going to be an investment early on. But in the end, you can make things a lot simpler, a lot leaner. But yeah, it's not easy at the moment.
Yeah, it's such good points, and it is. Yeah, we need to do more. How we do more is for another day. And all the amazing people that we'll speak to over the next weeks, years on this to hopefully make a difference. So yeah, no, really, really good point. What's next? Which is a really broad question, I know, but you're doing some amazing things, going to Madrid, Brussels, super jealous. But what's next for you and even the business?
So yeah, next for me. I mean, I'm feeling quite positive at the moment. So in my professional life, we're doing really great stuff at work. There's loads of cool things happening, but also personally as well. I moved to Bristol about 4 or 5 years ago, and when I first moved to Bristol, everyone was saying, "Oh wow, you're gonna love it there. Like, there's such a good scene. There's so many great organisations." But then we had COVID, and also most of the time I'm either walking my dog or in my back garden. So to be honest, there is all this stuff going on, but I didn't know about any of it. And over about a year ago, I started getting involved with Tech for Good Southwest. And yeah, this is why I'm doing this podcast now. And I just feel so much more connected. So that's really, really cool. And then in terms of work at Promo, we've got some really amazing projects on at the moment. So any third sector organisation in Wales can now come to us and get a whole range of different digital support. So they can get training, there's resources, and we've just set up a National Lottery Community Fund funded project called Digi Cymru. So the idea is that we support you and become your digital team. You can get in touch with us with a digital challenge, and we'll put you in touch with the right person who can help you through that. So yeah, that's pretty exciting, and there's lots of other things coming too. We are looking at setting up Tech for Good Cymru, so Tech for Good Wales, and that's something on the horizon. So yeah,
Nice, awesome.
keep watching. Lots of cool stuff.
Where can people usually find you? I know you said out in the garden or walking your dog, but how can people get a hold of you to maybe talk about some of this in a bit more detail?
So you can go to our website, which is www.promo.cymru. Cymru is Cymru, so that's for Wales. And you can also get hold of us on Twitter and social media. And my Twitter handle is @little_Ari, because my name's Ari and I'm little.
Love that. Before I go, that was amazing. But you're at a dinner party. You've got 3 guests, alive or dead. They could be anyone. Who are they?
Oh, that's a tricky question.
I know, and you're only allowed 3, never 4.
Okay, one of the first people that's coming to my mind is Patrick Swayze. I absolutely love him. I think he's a dream, and he's so amazing at dancing that, yeah, I would love to have him at a party so that I could dance with him. And now I'm going to try and think of someone else who's maybe not a celebrity. Okay, Martin Luther King. He would be amazing. I would love to talk to Martin Luther King. And then I'm also going to now pick the Dalai Lama. So I've got someone quite peaceful in there as well. So I'll have a dance at the beginning of the night with Patrick Swayze, and then I'll talk about social justice with Martin Luther King, and then I'll get super chill with the Dalai Lama.
Wow, you win. I've asked that question to a lot of people, and that's a solid 3. Arielle, thank you so much. Honestly, yeah, so much good stuff, and 100%. I think all the stuff that you said is just really powerful. I'm sure a lot of people will connect with you after this to speak in a bit more detail. But yeah, thank you so much, and looking forward to the next one.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alicia.